Hey everybody, Cynthia here. I'm back with my 13 Haunted Projects of Halloween. And I wanted to make some boo boxes for the doorknobs for some of my coworkers at work. So I can put some candies in them and just give them a little boo for Halloween. So these are the ones I've been working on. This is the back. I covered the bottom. Put my little ghost here. I use my Cricut cartridge for, which I'll show you all in a minute. And the paper pad that I used was this paper pad here. I purchased this from Michael's maybe 2 years ago, and it's the Hocus Pocus paper pad, which I love. But anyway, I was also thinking of selling these at my craft show coming up in October. And then I was also thinking of making some, like, You've Been Jingled for Christmas. So, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But I thought I'd show you a few of them before we get started, because we're going to be making these cute You've Been Booed door hanger treat gift boxes. The box size actually turns out to be fairly decent. I've seen a lot of different door hanger boxes, but I kind of wanted to just come up with some of my own measurements because I wanted my box larger than the ones that I did see. And this took me quite a while. I think I messed it up like 4 times, but the box measures approximately 3.5 across by 2 3/4 deep, and then 2 inches wide. So not a bad size. You could put a lot of candy in there and maybe some other little gifts. But I love this one with the potion bottles and the skulls and the witch's cauldron and the butterflies. This was a really cute paper pad. And of course my candy corn. And then some pumpkins. And this one, which has a lot of different tombstones and signs with different sayings on them. Really, really cute paper. Okay, so the ghost, I used my Happy Hauntings Cricut cartridge, and I sized my ghost. If you go old style like I am, it's on page 37. And I sized my ghosts at 4 1/4 inches high. And then, let me just set this aside. And then for A Little Boo for You sentiment, I used this Darcy's Heart and Home stamp set I purchased from Not Too Shabby, which I will post a link below. And this one was called Ghostly Greetings. And then for my Happy Halloween sentiment in the front, I used this Inkadoo stamp set, the Happy Halloween up here. This stamp set's quite old. I've had it in my stash a long time. But this one's called All Hallows Eve. And then I used some twine up here, made a double bow behind some black seam binding. And the seam binding that I ordered from my Scrap Cabin shop on Etsy. So I will post a link below to those places. I'm not affiliated in any way. Some people ask, so I like to share. And also for the doorknob circle here, that size measures, when you go to cut it out, 2.5. So I used my set of circle dies. These are stitched circle dies. And I got these from Amazon. And I'm trying to get out the actual, this is the sizes? Yeah. Sizes I used for the tutorial. So what I did was I used the smaller circle, which is 2 8.5 inches. And then if you can see, I framed it. I framed each and every circle. You don't have to do that, but I did. And so I used my larger die, so one larger, and then I taped them together so that I could cut out. I ran it through my Cuttlebug so that I can cut this ring out. Okay, so that's all you need to do to make this piece here. Put them together, put them on top of a black piece of cardstock. Use some washi tape so that, you know, these don't slide when you run them through your cutter, and then you'll get this frame to go around. But like I said, for the circle we're going to use, it is 2.5 inches. So let me set these aside and we will get started. Got all my pieces here. I have my, like I said, I have my frame cut out. I have my ghost at 4.25 inches. And I have my Happy Halloween sentiment, and behind it I added some foam tape. And I'm just going to direct the camera down lower. Hopefully y'all don't get dizzy there. Okay. And I have my pieces all cut out and ready to go. So let's get started. Let's get this party started, as some would say. Okay, so for the base of the box, it's honestly, it's going to look like it's complicated, but it's really not. And I'll walk you through it step by step. But for the base of the box, you're going to need a sheet that measures 12 by 8.5. Now, when you put your cardstock in your 12 by 12 sheet and you go to cut this, make sure it's exactly 12 inches. Because when I put mine was almost 1/8 of an inch longer than 12. So double check it before you go and cut your 8.5, just to make sure the 12-inch mark is precise. I just thought I'd give you that tip because I didn't realize. You know, you buy 12 by 12, you expect it to be 12, but sometimes it's a little off, so double check. Anyway, you're going to line it up at the 12-inch mark, and you're going to score at 4.5, 7.25, 9.25, and then you're going to flip it around to the 8.5 inch mark. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, 2.5 inches, 6 inches, and again at 8. Okay, do not fold your score lines. We're going to cut first. It's much easier, and I'll show you why. Okay, so in the center, we have this big, large section. This section is where we scored to the 4.5. The 4.5 big section here is the top of your box. This is the bottom. And I'm going to show you what you're going to cut off, and I'm going to use my white jelly roll so that you can actually see. You are going to cut off this section here, this whole section here, this whole section here, and this one here. And then we're going to cut our score lines. Okay, I just thought if I outlined it in white, it might be a little bit easier for you guys to see. So remember, this 4.5-inch section here, that's the top of our box. So we're cutting this 1/2-inch section off and this 4.5-inch section off. Follow your score lines. Okay, should look like that. You're going to cut this bottom whole piece off here. Should look like that. We're going to flip it around, do the same thing on this side. Cut this large section off. And you don't have to get rid of these pieces you're cutting off. You can use them, you know, to punch out bats and whatever you use little scraps of cardstock for. I just wanted to outline mine so you could see where the cuts would be. So I'm probably not going to reuse it, but who knows. Okay. So you should have a piece that looks like this. This is the top. This is the bottom. Let me cut that score line a little bit better. Now, I'm going to flip it around, and in between here we have a score line. So we're going to cut on that score line to meet up with the next one. So you should have 2 large flaps here. This small flap here has this 1/2-inch section. I want you to cut that right off, that 1/2-inch section. Just like that. So you should have this piece here and this piece here with our 1/2-inch section that we're keeping because we need that. I'm just going to cut a little angle on that 1/2-inch section. So it should look like that. We're going to do the same exact thing to the other side. Going to go in, cut on this score line to meet up with the next. So it gives you those 2 pieces. This is our smaller flap. You're going to cut this 1/2-inch section off. Okay. And then you're going to angle your 1/2-inch section here on this piece. And then what I like to do for these 2 little square flaps, go in and angle those pieces as well. It just kind of helps it work out better when you fold up your box. Flip it around, cut out a little angle out of that square piece, just like that. Okay, so this is what your box should look like. This is the whole top section here. See this top section? So you're not going to want to fold that score line. You want to keep that not folded because you're going to cover that with paper. So you want to fold the sides of your boxes in. You got this piece. Then you have your 1/2-inch piece. Fold up that. Same thing on this side. Fold it in. Then fold on that 1/2-inch piece. Then fold your little square pieces in. Okay, these are all the sides of our boxes. Then you have this front flap you want to fold up. And then you have the second one you want to fold up. Okay, so if you look at it now, these are going to actually fold in. This is going to come up. Like this. And that's going to be our box. Okay, but before we do any of that, we are going to cover it, and then we're going to cut our hole for the door hanger. And when you guys do this, if you follow along with me, just do one step at a time and pause the video when you go to cut, and then that way it won't be You know, don't try to keep up with me. Just, that's how I do it. Like, if I watch a tutorial and they're going too quick and I'm not at that point, I just keep pausing and pausing until I get caught up. So what I want to do first is I want to cover the front here. This is actually the inside of our box, okay? So I'm going to cover this piece, and this piece measures 7 1/8 by 3 3/8. So let me get some liquid glue. Seven and 1/8 by 3 3/8. And let me get my pumpkins going the right way. This is the inside of our box. We're just gonna lay that in there. And that's why I scored it after cutting as well, because when you score and then you fold it like I did, you can tell which part is your inside and which part is your outside that you're gonna cover, and it won't be as confusing. So we're gonna cover this back piece here. Inside of the box only gets this. I mean, you guys can cover as much as you want, but I just did this. So this is the outside. And again, this very long piece here, we're covering. It's 7 1/8 by 3 3/8. Okay. And then this piece here is actually the bottom of our box. And my pattern is going to go the same way. My pumpkins are facing the same way for the bottom. That piece measures 3 3/8 by 1 7/8. Okay, now this piece here is actually going to be the front of our box. When we flip it around and we put this stuff in, this is the front. So when we put our pumpkins on, or if you have a pattern paper, you want to make sure your pattern is facing the right way. So when you actually glue it on, these are facing the right way. You're going to glue these upside down, so that when you fold up the box, they're facing the right way. This piece measures 3 3/8 by 2 5/8. Now, if you have pattern paper that it doesn't matter which way it goes, that's completely fine, but I wanted to just give you a heads up about that, because for this one here, when I was gluing this, you know, the words of the box go this way, just like here, and the bottom the same way. But when I went to glue this piece, I had to flip it around so the words faced the opposite direction, so when I folded it up, it was facing the right way. Okay, now we're going to do our two side pieces here. These side pieces measure 2 5/8 by 1 7/8. We like to put candies in these, or little patterned socks, and just little tiny gifts, and stick them on teachers' doors, and or your coworkers, you know, you could do that for them and just say you've been booed, and don't tell them who it's from. It's just kind of a nice surprise to get. Okay, so we have our box covered. What we're going to do now is we want to cut out our door hanger up here. So all I did was grab a piece of washi tape. Now if you have a punch, you can punch it. And like I said, the circle that we make is 2.5 inches. And I did measure the doorknobs so that I could make sure it went over most doorknobs, wide doorknobs. And I'm just going to center it up here. And I'm just going to put on a little bit of washi tape so it does not move on me when I run it through. I'm going to fold up my sides when I run it through as well. But it looks like that for placement. Okay, remember to fold your sides in so they don't get smashed. And I just ran it through and then backed it up so I didn't have to run my whole entire box through. Okay. And I'm going to gently pop out that center there. And I'm going to hang on to these because I might use these for some embellishments. And then pull my washi tape off, and you have your door hanger circle. Now you could leave it at like that. It's perfectly fine. But I did take it one step further, and I'm gonna I already cut this out. I'm not gonna do it again, but I will show you for the video, just so you. For beginners, I got the circle that's larger. I'm going to put this one right here. What you want to do is center it really well so you get a nice even cut on both sides. Put your washi tape over that just like this, and you're going to run that through, and you'll end up with another circle piece, and then you'll end up with your frame. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and glue my frame. I just wanted to do the frame because I thought it kind of finished it off a little bit nicer. Okay, so we have our frame on. Now we're going to put our box together. So I'm pretty much going to glue this small center square piece to this side of the box. So I'm going to add glue. And I'm going to pull this up to meet. Close it up just like that. And I'm going to run my bone folder over it. Okay, same thing on this side. This small square is going to meet with this. Add some glue. And meet these two sides together. Run my bone folder over that. Okay, so these are our 1/2 inch flaps. I'm going to put the 1/2 inch flaps on the inside there. Kind of bend them in a little. Just so that they're facing forward. And I'm going to add glue to both sides. And then we're going to flip this flap up to meet. here and right here. Just wipe off the excess glue. And I'm going to go ahead inside and run my bone folder over it. And that's it. That is our treat box. So then I went ahead and I kind of put my if you count, I don't know if you have the same Cricut cartridge, but I just counted 3 little loops there, and I put my boo on right at the back here. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this piece here. And I'm going to put him on. I also, for the edges of this and the edges of my ghost, I added some Distress ink, black soot from Ranger, and I just went around all the edges and did that. And then I got some black and white bag filler, basket filler, whatever you want to call it, from the Dollar Tree, and put it on my desk, mixed it together, and threw it in a large bag so that I can have that black and white mix. Pop this on in the middle there. So it does make a nice size treat box. You could add a lot of candy or, you know, small gift. But anyway, I still have some of the basket filler left. So I just grabbed a bundle and stuffed it in. And that's it, guys. That's how my door hanger treat boxes ended up. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.